slow up, or I'll take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough, I hate this. I wanna share it. I don't ever slow up.
Before I became a Marxist, before I identified as an anarchist, I was an anarcho-capitalist. And here's the thing. I don't think I was stupid, I don't think I was evil, and I don't think anarcho-capitalism is just a joke ideology. If we're going to understand political transformation honestly, we have to begin with charity. So in this first episode, I'm not here to dunk on anarcho-capitalism. I'm here to explain what it gets right, because it does get things right. At its core, anarcho-capitalism is driven by a powerful moral intuition. Coercion is wrong. That's it. If you believe that individuals own themselves, and that no one has the right to initiate force against another person, then the state immediately becomes suspicious. Taxes, coercion. Regulations, coercion. War, coercion. The ideology is built on a clean, sharp principle, the non-aggression principle, and there's something deeply attractive about that clarity. It feels morally consistent. It feels uncompromising. It feels like standing on solid ground. Anarcho-capitalism is also correct about something many people underestimate. The state is dangerous. History is filled with examples. Governments committing atrocities, surveillance overreach, mass incarceration, corruption and regulatory capture, and wars built on lies. If you study history long enough, skepticism towards centralized power feels not radical but rational. Anarcho-capitalism forces you to ask uncomfortable questions. Why do we assume political authority is legitimate? Why do we normalize taxation? And why is violence acceptable when it's bureaucratized? That critical instinct is valuable. Even today, I haven't lost it. Another thing anarcho-capitalism gets right is the critique of central planning. No small group of bureaucrats can perfectly coordinate millions of lives. Markets do transmit information, prices do signal scarcity. Decentralized decision-making is often more efficient than top-down control. The economic calculation problem is not imaginary. The 20th century proved that rigid central planning creates massive inefficiencies and in some cases catastrophic failures. Anarcho-capitalism's insistence that complex systems require distributed knowledge is not foolish, it's perceptive. There's also something psychologically powerful about libertarian individualism. It emphasizes personal responsibility, self-ownership, agency, and voluntary cooperation. It resists victim narratives, it pushes against paternalism, and it tells people you are not a passive object of history, you are an actor. That message resonates, especially with young people trying to assert autonomy in a world that feels bureaucratic and suffocating. And honestly, that instinct toward autonomy still matters to me. Anarcho-capitalism also markets itself as anti-establishment. It rejects corporate bailouts, the military-industrial complex, the Federal Reserve, regulatory capture, and crony capitalism. For someone disillusioned with mainstream politics, it feels like a radical alternative. It says the system is corrupt, not because markets failed, but because the state intervened. The narrative is clean and emotionally satisfying. It provides a villain, and it offers a simple solution: remove the state. Looking back, anarcho-capitalism made sense to me because I valued consistency, I valued freedom, I distrusted authority, and I believed voluntary exchange was inherently moral. I hadn't yet fully examined the historical origins of property and capital. It wasn't ignorance that drew me in, it was coherence. It felt philosophically elegant, and elegance is persuasive. Even now, I think anarcho-capitalism performs an important function in political discourse. It keeps alive the question of legitimacy. It asks, why should anyone rule anyone else? That question shouldn't disappear just because I moved left. If anything, it becomes sharper. Because once you start applying that same skepticism not just to the state, but to corporations, landlords, and capital itself, the conversation changes. But that's for later episodes. Political transformation doesn't begin with stupidity, it begins with values. Anarcho-capitalism aligned with my values at the time: freedom, autonomy, and the suspicion of power. The problem wasn't the values, the problem was how narrowly I was defining power, and how selectively I was applying skepticism. But that realization didn't come all at once. In the next episode we'll examine the cracks.